This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
A treasure trove of bananas has been stolen, and it's up to Donkey Kong and his buddy Pauline to get them back. This unlikely duo is going on a world-smashing adventure, using DK's destructive abilities to explore an underground world, and the power of Pauline singing to activate wild transformations. Donkey Kong Bonanza, available now. Rated everyone 10 and up, only on Nintendo Switch 2. Game and system sold separately.
Welcome back to the show.
Down memory lane we go. And there is your dagger!
Stop it!
You guys want to get some action?
A little baseball action. A little hoop action.
You gotta be raping me!
How you doing?
How you doing, Pierre? What's going on? I've been all right. How you doing, Pierre? How you doing?
Good morning, Pierre.
9 to noon.
Talking about a Saturday on a Monday, getting ready for a Monday night in the next month while we think about a Friday from Nashville and the day before, Falcon Heights. Welcome to 9 to noon. This is your brain-boggling, discombobulated leader, FM 100.3, KFAN, Saturday Vikings and Pats. Oh, geez. What does one do with that? What do we do with that one? Vrabel rolled out with his ones, and under the cover of darkness.
Pats are 2 of 3 on third down. I formation behind May. Henderson gets the call. Stutter steps, gets through the line of scrimmage across the 5. Touchdown, New England Patriots. A rushing touchdown by Travion Henderson. And the Patriots have taken a 6-0 lead.
And not a bad job up front. Guys like Travis Bell getting right in there. Talkie Timony. But it's when you're playing against the ones, those arm tackles just aren't going to work.
Yeah,
and that's
Timony talk. It was somebody's head who got rocked. And Travion Henderson scored a touchdown. That wonderful rookie from Ohio State. Oh, geez. What are we all doing with that one? Even beloved Brosmer threw a pick.
Brosmer to the end zone. Intercepted. And the New England Patriots. No, it was stripped away. No, they stayed down. The ball was stripped away from the interceptor.
Player
Dominic
is down in the end zone.
Further red flag.
For a touchback. Oh, no.
All right, well, Nesbitt thinks he fell on it for a touchdown. Here's Vrabel running over to O'Connell saying,
On-field ruling is under review.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, well, meanwhile, somebody better tell the Patriots they're heading back to the locker room.
After review, the ruling on the field stands as called. It is a touchback. This is the end of the game.
Thank you.
We got Tommy Men out there. No!
I always love that one.
We got Talkie Timony Men out there. No!
I always love that one.
Oh yeah, Miles Price got loose.
Kick return, Miles Price. Bouncing off Patriots, and he's loose! Miles Price to the 30. Keep chugging, my man. Inside the 10, taken down at the 5 or the 7. Miles Price caught a touchdown against the Houston Texans. Bounced off everything red, white, and blue, and the Vikings have it first and goal.
You talk about Miles Price, and there's a spot for a kick returner. Kevin O'Connell heaped some praise on him earlier, made a guy miss. A nice return earlier than this return, bringing it all the way deep into Patriot territory down to the 8-yard line. Miles Price just might have made himself a ball club.
Nice kick return. Old Miles Price.
Is that the first time that you've used an "and he's loose"?
and he didn't get into the end zone. Now it's preseason. I mean, we're all working our way through the exhibition season.
Wow,
but he looked like when he opened up the gates,
weeds, brother.
He was gone.
That's in the weeds, brother. Yes, but like a lot of what happened Saturday, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody thinks it gets loose, did it really get loose? I think the answer is yes. And good morning.
Good morning.
Now, Miles Price with that nice kick return, but got caught. He got caught. That ain't going to bode well in the film room. Still a big-time run by the former Hoosier. Zach Royce, go crazy. Courtney Cronin, go crazy. What's up? It's a Monday, and this is 9 to noon's Weekend Wrap, sponsored by Hoffman Cooling and Heating. And that metaphorical Hoffman cooling was blowing frigid temps on that Saturday special at U.S. Bank Stadium for both sides. But there was a point with the home team where it was just like, let's get out alive. I mean, let's finish this. Still a lot of Saturday left. Let's just get out alive. HoffmanHeating.net for your cooling and heating needs. Locally owned, standalone store, not caught up in the rigmarole to which the chains have to adhere. You know who they are and how honest the company is. HoffmanHeating.net. Let's rap about the Vikes. I had 3 bold people on the escalators at Canterbury Park yesterday eyeball me and say hello, not ask me for a Vikings-related prediction or opinion. Instead, just blurted what they thought the Vikings record would be, which I thought was really cool because it's abundantly clear the village is percolating. The town is a Twitter, and the village is percolating. The fan base is simmering with excitement. There are those saying, let's get through this clump coming up late August, early September, and see what the kid can do. Let's make sure they can cover the pass, even without a stout pass rush at times. Let's make sure all the guys who missed mega time last year, here, there, and everywhere, don't suffer the same fate this year. But let's see what the kid can do. The aforementioned kid. He's JJ! 2 of them said 10 wins. One guy was at 12-4. 12-5. And a conference championship berth.
Ooh. Against
the LA Rams.
Oh my gosh. Above average.
I don't know if I can handle that one. But that's tomorrow. So let's get today all squared away. Kind to Canterbury Park patrons, thanks for saying hello. And assuming all of you saw some or most of Saturday's tilt. And thank you for putting that thing in context when we were chatting yesterday. Crazy thing about Saturday, and one of the sloppiest Minnesota Vikings games I can remember. Ooh. I ain't kidding. I mean, there was inadequacy and there was success and it was fun. And yes, the jobs and the whole opportunity are blessings. We get all that. But, man, it was a sloppy game. But trip on this. If Miles Price catches the Brosmer dime, there are 2 from tying that thing.
Yeah.
That's just crazy after the way the whole thing was developing during the day. Price holds on to it. There are 2. Dust off Hawkinson if he has his shoulder pads on. Bring him in for the 2, tie the game, and kick somebody in the spot and call it a day. We're almost home, friends. We're almost home. Friday night on the Fan from Tennessee. I'm calling right now, and this is probably too early in the week, and I have absolutely no steam on it. But I am predicting Max Brosmer plays the entire game.
Oh my gosh.
Brosmer.
Wow.
First snap. Brosmer. Last snap. Then they cut Tuesday. Then they execute their toil through Labor Day and up to the Bears game. And what I just said, which may be wrong, but who knows, Bears conversation during the course of today's presentation and perhaps during the course of the week. It's not Brosmer mania, But now we're starting to connect the first down dots of gridiron gospel divinity, knowing who or having a feeling for who will and will not play in Nashville. We're almost home. Holy cow, we're almost home. The 19 I lived in California were cool weather-wise, but the change from summer to fall and winter to spring here is unmatched by anything I have experienced all over the world. Maybe this side of Hawaii, where I lived for 9 months. That place is the bomb. Never sizzling, rarely humid, and the trade winds always hit at the perfect time. That summer to fall thing here is right around the corner, and the term wishing away the summer no longer is in play because the state fair starts Thursday, and when that bad boy unfurls, summer is over, baby. And here come the Vikings. Here come the Minnesota Vikings in the regular season. We hope is special. And the word special was prominent Saturday on Vikings Fan Line with mad producer and 3 Ron Johnson. Special teams, though. Let's lay that out. Weekend wrap. The kicker is back. The long snapper still is one of the very best at his craft, even though he got swallowed up on a long punt return by the red, white, and blue. And banana ball guy from Adelaide, South Australia, might be putting pressure on Ryan Wright. Yeah. So, I mean, just think about all that. And you guys were all over special teams on Saturday, and I understand why, and good morning.
Good morning. Well, for me, and I even texted you this, it was just before halftime, I think. There was a long kick return before the break. And I just had to emote, PA. I'm sorry, it's a Saturday, the game doesn't count. And I just sent you a text. I'm like, special teams might kind of be an L. We don't know what's going on with the returner situation. The kicker's been back and basically perfect since the night practice. We love that. But the coverage units, there was a long punt return allowed earlier in the game as well. And you get the return out of Miles Price, you dig all that. But like you said, outside of the kicker, outside of DePaula, there's so much up in the air right now, including banana balls, including the returner situation. And can some of these returners be gunners and be contributors in other ends of special teams and all of that? Ron's trying to calm me down. Well, it's a lot of guys that probably aren't going to make the team. Okay, it was a good preseason game, and it's a pretty good point. But in the end, just kind of for a team that the defensive front is set to be really good. Love the Minnesota moving company. Love the running back tandem. Rooting for the kid QB. You got all these options and opportunities around him and ahead of him. There's just one area we don't really think about that doesn't mean much until it means absolutely everything. And that's special teams, and it's question marks all over the place at the moment.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
What we're whipping out right now is banana ball guy. His name is Oscar Chapman. Now, just with that special teams diatribe, the kicker is back.
Yeah, no, the kicker's back.
Can we dispute that? I mean,
Riker is sweet.
Need the kicker to be back.
I swear he's been perfect since that Monday night practice at TCO. I don't think he's missed from anywhere, and it's been beautiful to watch. The kid's back.
Yeah, team plays in tightly contested games just like everybody else, and you need the kicker to be back, and the kicker is back. Banana ball guy. Now, Oscar Chapman, and again, we're not casting affronts or making predictions. We're just analyzing, trying to get to a 53.
He ain't heaven. He's a punter.
Chapman held for kicks end of the first and second preseason games, and kicks it pretty well, doesn't he? With that banana ball. So would they go with Auburn rookie Oscar Chapman over a veteran who mostly has been reliable and knows what professional loud crowd pressure sounds like? Auburn is cool, but it's not a national power. But Auburn plays in a little ditty called the Iron Bowl. Everybody familiar with the Iron Bowl? That's Alabama's pressure-packed rivalry game, and it matters a lot to Alec Lewis's state. It matters a lot from, say, Anniston to Alabaster. So when analyzing this pressure-packed situation between Banana Ball guy and the heir apparent in Ryan Wright. I started to look back a little bit at Oscar Chapman, just kind of like see what he's doing with this banana ball and the who, what, where, when, and why. Now, this iron ball is very important to Alabama football. There's a lot of pressure. The Billies and Johnnies and Christies and Susies and Tamikas and Antoines, they stand up the entire game, and they're all loud and everything. You got the navy blue and the orange of Auburn and the Alabama Crimson Tide, those of that variety. They're these wild, randy kids are just standing up the entire game rooting for their favorite team in the Iron Bowl. There's a lot of Iron Bowl-related pressure that goes all the way back to Joe Namath throwing for the Crimson Tide and Bo Jackson running for the Auburn Tigers. So when I think, all right, well, I mean, if there really is pressure on the heir apparent, what kind of big spots has Oscar Chapman punted in? Basically, the best I could get to was the Iron Bowl, because that is pressure-packed. So, in last year's Iron Bowl, won by the Crimson Tide 28-14, our guy Oscar Chapman punted 4 times for about 41 a clip, and he had no touchbacks. Nice job, not covenant claps worthy. In the 2023 pressure-packed Iron Bowl, Banana Ball guy punted 5 times for 48 yards per, with 2 inside the 20. And the Tide had 2 returns for -3 yards. Hey, Iron Bowl immortality. He's Oscar Chapman. By the way, Oscar Chapman hasn't had a punt blocked maybe in his life. And here's what I mean. He went 245 at Auburn without a block, and he didn't play high school football in Adelaide. So I don't know if he's ever experienced a block punt in his life. So there's that with the special and the special teams. One underplayed facet when people analyze special teams is Maryland rookie Ty Felton. It looks like he's going to be super tough as one of the gunners. Now, those are the outside guys on the punt team. Think we can go real old school. Joey Browner, unbelievably good at it. Jake Reed, demon on wheels. Main man Marcus, he was phenomenal as a gunner. Najee Thompson of late. Ty Felton looks the part and absolutely has secured one of those spots. So the punt return situation seems to be a conundrum. And then we get to kick return. And this is, and in fairness here to yours truly, and with apologies if needed, we're going to call it FEHA. We will call it FEHA, Fairness and Host Act. I'm the idiot if I've missed something along the way and conclusive on this. Kick return, all right? When did Isaiah Rodgers no longer become considered the man for the role? Well, seriously, I mean, did I miss something here during vocal maintenance days? I mean, I think it was minicamp, and I think when my iPhone 4 was working, I actually recorded an interview with Isaiah Rodgers that we actually could air, and it didn't sound like the microphone was 15 feet away. And we talked about this, and he was excited to return kicks for the Minnesota Vikings. So, did I miss something here? And he's not one of the 2 on the updated depth chart. I mean, take a peek at it.
Faith and goal.
It's when they look at kick return, like last week, Lucky Jackson went to number 1 on punt return. Ballyhooed News. You look at kick return, and 1 is Ty Felton. I think 2 is Miles Price. So maybe that's just for now. Maybe they're playing some games here. But
have you seen him in any of the practice days recently?
That's a very good question. I thought that last night when I wrote this, and I was like, well, I haven't really looked that way too frequently, but that's going to cause me to get out there today to figure this out.
Yeah, and I just looked at it the one time last week, and you and I were going through it. It was Lucky, it was Miles, it was Silas, like the similar names. I did not see Isaiah Rodgers even in the mix.
What happened? Did somebody say something in a press conference, or did I miss something during the elongated vocal maintenance days? because Rodgers had a kick return touchdown with the Indianapolis Colts. All right. It has been said this offseason he gets first crack at kick return. Absolutely, it has been said. Yet with KO's presser after the Pats game, he discussed the role and mentioned Ty Felton, maybe Ty Chandler, Miles Price, Xavier Scott, but no Isaiah Rodgers. Unless I heard the bit wrong and he only was talking about like the now and what's coming up against Nashville. If he's no longer in the mix, I'm going to take the leap. It's because they don't want him to potentially get dinged returning kicks because of how badly they feel he's needed at corner. But there still would be a change to the plan for somebody who has a kick return touchdown against the best of the best ever to best, the professional level, Isaiah Rodgers. So this bears following, if you care about it like 9 to noon does. Here's what O'Connell said about the kick return job after the Pats game.
I think it's. I feel really good about where Ty Felton's at from a skill set standpoint. Now we're just trying to get him as much work, coinciding right now with a lot of receiver work as well back there. But that's one of the reasons why he's here. I believe he has that skill set, and especially what that kickoff play is turning into this year. So we want to try to get him as much work. I still think Ty and Zay have done some good things back there as well. And as far as the punt return, situation, we're trying to give as many guys opportunities to go back there and first and foremost catch it. After making a good decision on, in play, fair catch, or stay away from it. It's a decision making and then catch standpoint, and then what we are looking for is somebody who can, try to make that first guy miss, because I feel really good about our ability of our roster to block a lot of those plays with some of the depth we have. And then it's just a matter of, can you make one miss and maybe run through an arm tackle? And I think we saw a little bit of that today, especially out of Miles.
Are we playing games here up to this Bears game?
Hardcore football.
I mean, there's a way for the coach easily to get out of a box if he thinks he's in some form of box. Okay, so the kick return depth chart has Ty Felton first. I think Miles Price second. We just heard the names Ty and Miles and beloved Zay and everything. That's great. The way out of the box is to say, well, I was talking about preseason. I was talking about preseason kick returning as Isaiah Rodgers trots out for a kick return at Soldier Field in a regular season game against a team you need to beat in the division. Ty Felton's name was mentioned. All right. Ty Felton returned 6 kicks for Maryland in 2022 and at 25 per, and that's it.
Oh my gosh.
Hear me when I tell you this. Ty Felton, fine young man. High-end gunner, potentially. He returned 6 kicks in 2022 and for 25 per, which ain't bad, but that's it. Rodgers has returned 69 kicks in 4 NFL years and at 27 a pop. But he never has been relied upon at corner as much as this year.
Yeah, I think that's the main factor.
So, quick twitch, and yours is generally good. You think I missed something here? Like a press conference or mini camp, or like somebody came out and like had, as they call him, and said, we're just not going to do this, or
I don't think we missed anything. I think you hit.
I sniffed out a conundrum, didn't I?
Well, I think you hit. So either he is ultimately so valuable as a starting corner that they don't want to risk the injury.
Wow.
Either he's a starting corner plus they're not really excited about potentially the depth. If they were to lose Rodgers to some sort of injury, then that becomes super problematic. The only thing that I would bring it back around to, Felton had the fumble on Saturday on the kickoff.
And there was that, right.
So I'm glad to hear that the gunner work is coming along and such, but he can't be head and shoulders ahead of everyone else from the kick return game and cough one up, albeit I think, I forget, maybe Austin Keys, is that a name? I think he recovered it. But that does not inspire confidence to me in the kick return game. If you're going to go out there in an exhibition and cough it up, no, thank you.
Right.
So but I think the Rodgers value that he brings to this team would be defense. So they're trying to figure out, as he said in that audio, We're trying to basically give anybody a chance. Hey, Vikings fans, how are you doing with the depth perception and such off the jugs machine? Would you like to come and try out and potentially become a kick and punt returner in the NFL? They're putting all those names together for Miles and Silas and Lucky and trying to find out just something that can work. Into that question, by the way, the audio I played, it was interesting. I think it was Judd who asked it, like, is the returner on this team? So I was always kind of set on for a few weeks the idea of going out and making a transaction, bringing somebody else in. I always thought that was a huge long shot. Is that a long shot at this stage, in your opinion, in terms of, Brandon Powell? That's an easy name that's out there, that's available and has returned punts, not at a high level, but has returned punts and been reliable back there. I'm just curious as the way that question was framed, and he went on, sung the praises of Ty Felton, mentioned Miles and the work he did. Is the returner on this team?
The punt return situation, in my estimation, is buried so deeply in the abyss, I can't even think about it right now.
I know.
I'm just saying, there's a guy on the roster who has a National Football League kick return touchdown and like 69 National Football League kick returns over 4 years at about 27 yards a pop.
Yeah.
That's the kick returner.
It should be.
What happened?
But he's our CB. I mean, he's our starting guy, man. He twists an ankle up in there, and then suddenly it's like, okay, and I know you come prepared to these games, but if you have to dust off some Ambry Thomas intel against the Bengals week 3, I mean, that's potentially a problem there.
That's a fair point.
So I think they got to keep him healthy.
We got to start looking at names, don't we?
Free agency never fails on the Quasi train.
Yeah, but what happened to number 2? It was his money.
Free agency never fails on the Quasi train.
What if O'Connell's pushing the envelope and playing games?
Amen, brother.
And he puts number 2 back there with 27 a pop over 4 years, about 70 of them, including one that went to the house. Here's the kick by Kevin Butler or Eddie Pinheiro. Boom. And Isaiah Rodgers fields it, gets through that dynamic kickoff, which Nordo said Saturday is antithetical to dynamic, and I happen to agree with him, and he squirts through all this like Trayvon Henderson, and he's gone with that 4.4 speed. Yeah, I don't really understand what's happening here.
I appreciate sneaky. I appreciate gamesmanship.
Let's be sneaky as bleep right here.
This is...
Well, it doesn't make sense. Tell me it makes sense.
This is digging deep into
Are we fear over faith or faith over fear? I mean, seriously, the number one guy, with all due respect to my favorite team, your number one kick return guy on the depth chart has not done it since 2022.
Yeah.
It was only 6 of them. None of them got to the house. It wasn't the dynamic kickoff.
No, it was
not. And the most recent thing we saw, he dropped.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, that's
KR1.
That's Coach of the Year stuff right there. Hey! I'm just playing around. I'm just like wondering right now what's going on with this. Did I miss a note or proclamation? Isaiah Rodgers is not returning kicks for the Minnesota Vikings. Anyway, if the Alabama kid keeps drilling them and the punter doesn't run up touchbacks, whomever it is, they'll be fine. With all that is the belief. Weekend wrapping courtesy of HoffmanHeating.net. The Twins were meatloaf by the Tigers, but smacked their former teammate Chris Paddock yesterday. Smacked him around. That's Covenant Collapse worthy when like one of your former dogs rolls in and wants to hit you and you just kind of smack him around a little bit and stuff like that. So Covenant Collapse for the Minnesota Twins for yesterday. And the Packers tackled and held on to passes much better at Indy than they did the week before against the Jets. And Caitlin Clark, the face of the WNBA, remains out with a right groin injury. And her coach said over the weekend, the hope is she returns before the postseason. Poor girl, poor league. Thank you, TimberTech. Thank you, TimberTech.com. What's on deck 9 to noon includes this. Here's the deal. NFL Network's Tom Pelissero joins next segment, and that rocks. Then Vikes Bites, and Parker's here at 11 o'clock, and we're excited to see what that kid has up his tattered sleeves. He's the kid with the quirky gene, and we'll see what he has to offer. Also, we have a cold call surprise for Parker Fox at about 11:15. We might do some talkbacks in the middle of the radio show, which is produced by Eric Nordquist, and I'm Paul Allen. Thank you, Hoffman Cooling and Heating, for aiding us with the Monday weekend wrap. HoffmanHeating.net. Erstwhile.com Tom joins 9 to noon around the corner, and you're listening to KFAN.
Life moves fast. A new home, a new baby, a new chapter. But without an estate plan, your future's still vulnerable. With Trust and Will, you can name guardians, start a trust, create healthcare directives, and more. All online in about an hour. It's attorney-designed, state-specific, and built to protect what you love. Plans start at just $199, and every plan is safe, secure, and kept completely private. From families with young kids to adults caring for aging parents, Trust and Will makes it simple to take control, without a law office, paperwork stress, or court delays. Go to trustandwill.com and use code RADIO to save 20%. Start your plan today. Don't wait for life to force your hand. Estate planning is one of the smartest, most loving things you can do. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Trust and Will.
A treasure trove of bananas has been stolen, and it's up to Donkey Kong and his buddy Pauline to get them back. This unlikely duo is going on a world-smashing adventure, using DK's destructive abilities to explore an underground world, and the power of Pauline singing to activate wild transformations. Donkey Kong Bonanza, available now. Rated everyone 10 and up, only on Nintendo Switch 2. Game and system sold separately.
Hi, you're listening to The Fan.
You hear him on KFAN quasi-frequently, and you've heard him over the years, but I am a fan from afar. A lot of respect for our next guest, Erstwhile.com Tom. That's Erstwhile. He's NFL Network's Tom Pelissero, at Tom Pelissero. That's 2 S's in the last name, via the X Machine, and he's part of NFL Network's The Insiders. You can listen to that podcast via the free iHeart audio app. Also watch it on the TV. And Tom Pelissero is a 1999 graduate of Edina High School, and here he is. Hey there. How is one of the hardest workers I've ever met been these days? And good morning, Tom.
Good morning, PA. I like any introduction that includes my high school alma mater, so that is appreciated. This is really the week where this thing starts to get ramped up. You saw a couple of trades yesterday. There's all these other, kind of edgy situations around the NFL that sometime in the next, 16 days, 17 days are going to have to get resolved prior to week 1. So it's an exciting time. There's the ones that we're tracking, the Terry McLaurins and Trey Hendricksons and Micah Parsons of the world. And then every now and then there's something that comes completely off the radar. Like a call I got last night at like 9:00 about a trade that was happening. That's the excitement of it. It's also the stress of it. And, pretty soon all this stuff will get resolved and we'll be playing football.
Let me go off the radar, for just a second here, Tommy. As an objective journalist, all right, Tom is not known for rooting for certain teams. Been the case for years. So let me ask you this. As, say, a 17-year-old in 1998, and assuming you were a Minnesota Vikings fan while going to Edina High School, how devastated were you after the 98 NFC title game?
Well, I would start with this. I was at week 1 that year, 98, Randy Moss's regular season debut against the Bucs, I believe it was. I was at the game at Soldier Field that year, too, sitting in like the 3rd row in the end zone when Randy had a touchdown catch down there. So, yes, that was very much a part of my formative years, and I would fairly say at age 17 or 16, the devastation was substantial. That's one of the it's the good and the bad part of having the job I do now, PA, which is that you don't feel feelings. You don't get really worked up one way or another when things happen. I also do miss that every now and then. There's not a whole lot that I root for these days, but, being able to be dispassionate about it and just realizing, okay, this team lost, that coach is getting fired, I got to break that news. That's all part of the gig.
Well, that's pragmatically and beautifully stated. Thanks for sharing that. With Tom Pelissero, and I have all of his albums, that training camp tour you did for NFL Network, how long were you gone, and does it ever become exhausting?
The one I did this year was 13 teams in 12 days because I doubled up doing the Commanders had like an 8 a.m. practice and the Ravens were at 2 p.m. So I did both of those in one day. This one was not even that wild because at least I was almost entirely in the East Coast time zone. I did have one flight canceled from Rochester to Washington Dulles, and so I got to drive 6 hours through the Pennsylvania hills. Went through Williamsport, saw the Little League Stadium. That was the highlight on that 6-hour journey. Hooning down Wendy's at the wheel of a busted up Nissan Rogue rental car and just praying that I got in there okay. But at least, it was a lot of shorter flights. I did one last year where I literally went from East Coast to Pacific time zone twice, like back and forth twice. That got to be a lot. But the beauty of doing it this time of year and seeing all those teams consecutively is you're almost like a scout, where every scout will tell you, they'll have their tours set up in the fall and you're going one program to another. And even though, I'm not a coach, I'm not a scout, I don't ultimately know what I'm looking at, but you kind of get a feel for, the vibe, the tempo, the energy. You can tell a good practice from a bad practice just by being out there and talking to people, much like scouts who are on the road can, you go through a couple programs and you get to one, you're like, oh, this is what it's supposed to look like. So the fact that, right out of the gate, I hit the Lions, the Bills, the Commanders, the Ravens, that set a pretty high bar for what I was watching. A lot of my time on the sideline is just spent talking to coaches, talking to front office people and others around the team. But you definitely, you see what it's supposed to look like. And then maybe you go through some other teams and you go, okay, this team's got its work cut out for it in 2025.
All right, Tom. So of the 13 and 12, who's the best overall team you saw and why?
I would say the Ravens. I was there with Brian Baldinger. Steve Weiss was there as well. And Baldy had the same takeaway in all of his tour, which was, the Ravens it's what it's supposed to look like. Lamar is obviously one of the most rare individuals. I had a cool moment where I bumped into him. He was doing an interview with Baldy on the network, and I caught up with him for a couple of minutes. And I pulled out my phone. I'm like, Lamar, you got to see this photo. And it was me interviewing him the morning after he was drafted in 2018. And he was, he had a big grin on his face looking at it, his outfit and all that stuff. And I remember, vividly, the first question asked in that press conference was, what position is Lamar playing? Which at the time didn't seem like that crazy of a question. Now, of course, it seems like the most idiotic thing ever because the guy's won 2 NFL MVPs. But, you have Derrick Henry, who's the biggest man you've ever seen at running back. Now you've got DeAndre Hopkins added to that wide receiver group with Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman. Their offensive line's really good. They got a bunch of, they may not be the big name pass rushers, but they got guys like Travis Jones, who's an absolute monster if he can stay healthy. And they do have some edge guys. They got a ton of corners. You got the veterans like Kyle Van Noy. There's a long way of saying you look at them and you go, okay, that team is built to win right now. The Bills are built to win right now. Even the Lions, it was different there just going through because, I was like 10 minutes into practice. I'm like, what is different about this? And I'm like, oh, you don't hear Aaron Glenn yapping nonstop from the first snap of practice from warm-ups. They still got some high energy dudes there, but it's just, the volume level was a little different. But I'll tell you this, PA, if you're talking about like guys getting hit in a training camp practice, which of course doesn't happen as much as it once did. And you and I were out there in 2003 with, Ticey running 8:45 a.m. full contact practice on day one. Like all that stuff's been legislated out of the game. But if you go to Lions camp, man, like they're hitting, you got some 24-year-old, 6-year undrafted linebacker from Georgia teeing off on a 7-year veteran tight end. You're like, that's That's a Dan Campbell practice right there. Kansas City still hits like that. Pittsburgh still hits like that. Detroit hits like that. There's a lot of other teams you don't get that same level of physicality. There might be some live tackling drills occasionally in other places, but, man, you go into Pittsburgh and you watch, they're literally like day one of pads, first drill. I've been there 2 years in a row on that day, and they are doing straight up pass rusher versus running back and tight end pass rushing drills, and dudes are just flying. It's the most physical drill you'll ever see. Like, that's the stuff that, when I'm sitting here in my basement in Plymouth hosting a show 5 nights a week, you don't get that. You don't get that sitting here. It's fun to be out there and actually see it up close and in person.
And that show's on NFL Network. It's called The Insiders. It's the bomb. And you can listen to the podcast if interested via the free iHeart audio app. It's called NFL Network's The Insiders with our guest, Tom Pelissero. I think you mentioned it in passing, but the Eagles just traded with the Texans for wide receiver John Mechie III. Now, for Philly, Tom, their general manager, Howie Roseman, always is tinkering and making sneaky little trades, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. He's the guy who is always in every trade. Like, other GMs kind of chuckle about it when you're like, was anybody called you on this guy? They're like, well, Howie, but Howie always calls. I mean, Howie wants to be on every deal. Howie, and I mean this, lovingly and with respect and admiration for him, but he's the one who, if a guy gets traded and you didn't talk to him, he'll call the GM and be like, why didn't you call me? I would have given you more than that. Even if that's not true, he wants you to call him before executing any trade across the NFL. So for John Mechie, former third-round pick, missed his first year with a cancer diagnosis that was pretty serious. He's a player, another Alabama guy. They got about 100 of them on that roster, and a guy that maybe has some upside if he's healthy and on the field. Now they're a little banged up a receiver. A.J. Brown's still not practicing, and that's part of it. They sent a tight end, Harrison Bryant, to the Texans, who had just lost the tight end. And those are the types of deals you see right now. There's some like A-list deals, but a lot of these are teams that you've got guys on the bubble, and I got a whole list of them on my notepad in front of me, and everyone's like, hey, I've got an extra guard. Anybody shopping a receiver, looking for like a player-for-player deal, potentially. And some of these guys may not even make the roster. They're getting traded. They might be guys who get cut and end up on the practice squad. It might just be hey, we like that guy coming out 2 years ago. You're going to cut him. We'll give you a conditional 7th. If he doesn't make the team, then, we don't give up anything, but it's kind of a free look for a week. And the other part of this is you've got teams, some of them are playing their preseason finales this Thursday. I was texting with one coordinator this morning who's like, dude, we gotta find a way to get through this game because we're kind of banged up. And so there's going to be guys that get either claimed or signed or traded for these next few days who might play in that preseason finale. And that's the last you ever hear from them, just because teams have to figure out a way to be able to suit up. There was another trade last night, the one I was referring to, which was Colin Saunders, who won a couple of Super Bowls with the Chiefs, and then he had that ridiculous, 350-pound man returning an interception in a game against the Chiefs a couple of years ago when he was with the Saints. Mm-hmm. The Saints played the Jaguars yesterday. Colin Saunders started that game, and before he even got home, he'd been traded to the Jaguars. And it's because one team needed a D-tackle, one team needed a center. Hey, right. That might have come together in pregame warm-ups. These are the types of trades that get done this time of year. But I would say this, you're right. Everybody's always looking, anytime the Eagles make a trade of, I had one new GM say that to me this year. He's like, should I trade with Howie this year, or am I just setting myself up to look like I got taken advantage of? I'm like, I might ease it up on that one this year, just because the Eagles seem to have that knack for being able to get the better of all these trades.
That's beautiful, ma'am. Just a few for Tom Pelissero to close. That Vikes Pats preseason game, about as sloppy as they get. What are you hearing regarding their deeply rooted belief in quarterback J.J. McCarthy?
I would say this. I was there on Thursday at the joint practice. I actually spotted you, PA, from afar. You were behind the ropes. You were just chatting up with people, not even on media duty, just hanging out, talking to the people. Appreciate that about you. I didn't get a chance to say hello. But that was JJ at his best. I mean, I saw people who were there every day. I'm not. But saying that was the best practice he's had. And I came away talking to some Patriots people, talking to some Vikings people. That's what they're looking for. The thing with JJ, He obviously can rip it. He's clearly healthy at this point. If anything, your only, concern, so to speak, with JJ is just he's wired to make every play, which you like, but there are times you don't need him to make every play. It's like with Sam Darnold last year. Kevin O'Connell was not drawing this up that Sam Darnold's got to go out and win with his arm. They were going to scheme people open. They were going to get him easy throws. They were going to move the football. And then maybe 5 times a game, they would ask Sam Darnold to make an above-the-line throw. I fully anticipate that's how they're going to operate with J.J. McCarthy as well. He's young. He's got a lot to learn. He does not have the scars, metaphorically, that Sam Darnold does in terms of, all the things that he had been through the course of his career, which can be good. But there's going to be, a reining in process that has to take place. I don't get the sense that anybody has backed off how they feel about JJ as a person, about, the leadership traits, the maturity. Clearly you can see the talent. It's just about he's still young. And there's, like any young quarterback, there's going to be some growing pains through the course of that process. I do wonder in terms of the backup quarterback, Max Brosmer's been really impressive. And you saw that again, some of those throws he made in the second half of that game against New England. How do they feel about Sam Howell? Is there a scenario where, they'd even roll with Brosmer as the number 2 behind McCarthy? Ideally, you'd like a veteran in that room, but those are some of the decisions that they're going to have to make through the course of the process. But it's a really talented team, man. I don't think I need to tell Vikings fans that. You're going to have to get past Addison being out for the first 3 games, but you still have Justin Jefferson, you still got Hawkinson, you still got Aaron Jones, Jalen Naylor, if he's assuming that he's okay after his hand got banged up in that practice, that's a pretty good other piece. Do they add a receiver at some point here? I could see that defensively, they certainly have some parts, maybe there's, again, some tinkering that can be done on that side. And maybe the understated part of this entire thing is the offensive line is so much better than it's been. Yeah, you're out there a lot more than I am, but you just watch how those guys line up with Ryan Kelly and Will Fries, and you got the rookie who's going to start at guard, and then Darisaw being back out there, plus, O'Neill's O'Neill. Like, that's one of the best starting 5s you have in the NFL, which if you're just thinking, okay, how do we keep, get a rookie's confidence building, allow him to make good decisions? Step 1 is protecting him. And certainly they've built it to do that.
All right. Lastly, and when you were going through the laundry list of Vikings backup quarterbacks, it triggered me to think Kirk Cousins, healthy, not playing in the preseason for the Falcons. You think Cousins starts the season with the Atlanta Falcons?
As of now, he starts the season with the Atlanta Falcons. He's got a no-trade clause. He's due $27.5 million fully guaranteed. The Falcons have not really been willing to eat that money. The scenario that exists where maybe Cousins could end up elsewhere would be, and we'll see how things progress with Matthew Stafford. He had a back issue that was supposed to be 5 days, and then it became 2 weeks. Now it's 3 weeks. Now we'll see if he's out there this week. Kirk played for Sean McVay in Washington. He knows that system. It's a really talented team with, Super Bowl aspirations. If, and I'm saying if, I'm not reporting that Stafford's going to miss time, but if something were to happen and this became a long-term issue with Matthew Stafford, there's one guy out there that makes sense. I know they've got Jimmy Garoppolo, but Jimmy's history is not really, the ability to play all 17 games plus playoffs. Mm-hmm. Kirk is the one guy, and that's the one scenario where I could see Kirk said, okay, I'll go. If something were to happen in San Francisco, if something were to happen to JJ, I don't see Kirk waiving his no trade to go be a backup someplace else. His best opportunity to start, as it stands now, might be in Atlanta. Yeah. Michael Penix has an extensive injury history, and he knows the system there. His family's there. He's got kids. Like, I don't see Kirk, some random team with a scheme and a coach he doesn't know loses a quarterback, and they try to trade for him. I don't know that Kirk would say yes. I don't know that he would waive his no-trade clause. Would Minnesota be an option? I believe it's an option if something were to happen to JJ. I don't foresee them trading for Kirk while JJ is healthy. There's a variety of different reasons for that, including the money aspect of things here. But if something were to happen to Stafford, I would keep an eye on that. Otherwise, yes, Kirk's going to be the most expensive backup quarterback in NFL history in Atlanta, and we'll see if some circumstances change between now and November 4th that alter that plan.
NFL Insiders tonight and each and every weeknight. What time on NFL Network?
6 p.m. Central Time every night that there's not a game. So this week that is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. NFL Network also your home for every preseason game, including a bunch of live games that will start on Thursday night. It's a fun time of year.
You're the best. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for the time. All right, Tom?
You're the best, PA. Thanks for having me.
See you, bud. Tom Pelissero, NFL Network, The Insiders. Once again, if you missed the TV portion of the equation, you can listen to the podcast via the free iHeart Audio app. Tom Pelissero at Tom Pelissero via X. This is
9 to noon.
Life moves fast. A new home, a new baby, a new chapter. But without an estate plan, your future's still vulnerable. With Trust and Will, you can name guardians, start a trust, create healthcare directives, and more. All online in about an hour. It's attorney-designed, state-specific, and built to protect what you love. Plans start at just $199, and every plan is safe, secure, and kept completely private. From families with young kids to adults caring for aging parents, Trust and Will makes it simple to take control, without a law office, paperwork stress, or court delays. Go to trustandwill.com and use code RADIO to save 20%. Start your plan today. Don't wait for life to force your hand. Estate planning is one of the smartest, most loving things you can do. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Trust and Will. A treasure trove of bananas has been stolen, and it's up to Donkey Kong and his buddy Pauline to get them back. This unlikely duo is going on a world-smashing adventure, using DK's destructive abilities to explore an underground world, and the power of Pauline singing to activate wild transformations. Donkey Kong Bonanza, available now. Rated everyone 10 and up, only on Nintendo Switch 2. Game and system sold separately.
Vikes Bites! Hey, welcome back 9 to noon. It's time for Vikes Bites. Thanks again to Pelissero for giving us time this morning. That was awesome. And we're going to continue the Viking-centric conversation. Vikes Bites is presented by Thousand Hills Lifetime Grazed Grass-Fed Beef.
Beefy.
It is a Clearwater, Minnesota production. So support local, but on their end, they got to handle business too, right? They have elite, nutrient-dense, it's regenerative agriculture. The beef's unbelievable. I've smoked their briskets. I've smoked their ribs. I've cooked their steaks, brats and dogs. The collection of products they have is unbelievable. You can get it online, and a box of meat shows up at your doorstep. You can go to Coburn's, Co-ops, Kowalski's locations as well.
That'd be really sweet if Kevin O'Connell endorsed the full name. Say the full name.
Thousand Hills Lifetime Grazed Grass-Fed Beef.
Yeah, Thousand Hills Lifetime Fed Grass-Fed Beef, where he could be like, I've smoked the brisket, I've smoked the ribs, of course I've smoked the Packers twice.
I always love that one.
And you know,
Dominic,
I want to. You know what? Is it? I want to smoke a brisket for the coach.
Talkie Timony.
You think he'd be into that?
Oh, absolutely, for sure. He's amenable to much, acquiesces with more, but also has the I will shut it down gene. It's nothing personal. We got to move on to the next trick.
That's fair. We'll work on it. Slow steps there.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're going to do that, and we can arrange that, temper the salt this time.
I always love that one.
Just too much seasoning.
I'm just kidding.
It's always heavy on the seasoning.
Hey, see all that salt Timony's been eating of late? Holy cow.
Time again. That's what they say. Time again.
We got timing men out there.
You had the coach during the third quarter. Miles Price had a punt return opportunity, and I just liked how that exchange went. So let's listen from Saturday's game.
So now, this what makes this interesting is the punt return situation you guys have after Rondale Moore went down last week. Miles Price heads out to retrieve this punt, Kevin. And at Indiana, he had 23 punt returns last year, 12.5 per, including one for 65 yards. What are you looking for?
Yeah, this guy to me falls under the category, if we can get him comfortable catching it, he's got the skill set to make the first guy miss. Ooh. And then watch out, he's a 4-4, low 4-4 guy. See, he's going to have a chance now.
That's a
Let's
very
see what
high
this
punt.
looks like.
Woolrich from the 13.
There it is. Make the first miss. That's a hell of a job right there.
Nice return, Miles Price, with the head coach on the simulcast. 18-yard return.
So he gets the 18 or 20-yard punt return. He gets the 81-yard kick return opportunity as well. I was laughing about this. Here's Miles Price after the game on the return.
I mean, I believe I did my job every opportunity I got. I definitely left some money on the table, but that's all right. Learning experience, and probably will never happen again.
You talking about the return?
Yeah, definitely. Got to take that one to the crib.
Can you walk us through that? What's going through your mind as you're getting down there? And did you think you were going to get in there at the end?
I definitely did think I was going to get in there. As soon as I broke the first tackle, I knew I was gone. And then I started running out of gas. It's because I stopped doing my gashes, though. I should have kept doing my gashes. I ain't been doing my gashes the past week and a half, and it caught up to me.
So, all right, now we got several things transpiring here in the old Love Covenant. First and foremost,
this show is naughty and might make you a potty mouth.
And secondly, in when executing the Hoffman Cooling and Heating weekend wrap, we played back the highlight with Miles Price. My man keep chugging because I could notice he was slowing down about the 25. And I'm like, he got caught. That never goes over well in the film room.
Right.
And it's not like they're yelling. It's just they're teasing him. They're huffing and puffing with him.
They're going to talk trash to him about it.
So that was great after the game. That's the first thing is I'm never getting caught again. So I mean, it's that needed to be a trip to the crib. I think he said that 2 times. Stop working on his gashes, whatever that means.
Gassers.
Gassers. Thank you. And he got caught, but nevertheless, that punt return from the simulcast with O'Connell, I had forgotten about that. That when that works the way the coach says it's supposed to work, I like him. He's a high 5'4". He's good at making the first guy miss and securing the ball. And that's kind of Kevin right there saying that's really at this moment all we're looking for. I mean, it'd be cool if like Dante Hall reincarnate jumped back there, but we don't really have any human joysticks up and down the 91 at this moment. And then Price catches it, makes the first guy miss, gets like 14 or whatever. So that was a cool moment. I'm glad you played that.
Now, it was cool. Now, what I'm curious, though, you want to talk about learning and progressing, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're to go out to practice this week, better see the kid doing his gassers, right? I mean, if he's saying that.
But why? Why is Isaiah Rodgers not this team's kick returner?
Because he's our corner, I think.
Great. Well, he was our corner when he signed here.
Yeah.
And somebody was like, we want him to be the 2025 Zach Bond.
Right.
Kind of like jumping up and starring under the cover of darkness when nobody's really looking at the situation like Zach Bond. Well, okay. Well, that he was KR1 at that point.
It's true.
Okay. So this is, you guys can laugh at God's cartoon character all you want, but these things have tentacles. Okay. So what's that mean? That they either don't like something with their cornerback situation and or depth more than they're sharing.
Yep.
Or because I don't believe it can't be we can't use Isaiah back there because he might get dinged up. Because you said you were using him back there when you knew he was starting.
Yeah, and I think you
so now you've seen 1 through 7 in totality, knowing 5 or 6 are going to stay.
Right.
Well, now all of a sudden it's like he's not even KR3. I mean, he's off it. Really? Okay. We'll see.
Well, if he goes down with an ankle and suddenly
he can go down with an ankle tackling a running back in the Bears game.
No, he certainly can. But I think, you focus on the A job, right? How much do we want to expose him and then potentially expose our team to?
Yeah.
And entering the field now, 37, picked him up from the Bucs. Javier Thomas, ladies and gentlemen, will be playing outside. I think the depth piece.
I feel you.
And maybe that even extends. We haven't talked about him much really in the last week, but it was kind of put him on ice, like he's not even dressing for the Patriots game. Jeff Okudah. Okay, Jeff Okudah, are there still some things that he needs to work through? The physicality, the athleticism is there, but is he getting the whole bit?
Yeah.
I maybe they're just worried about that.
Okay, well, they also can have a side of it where they're like, our freaking defense is so good, we don't care about the kick return spot, okay?
Can you repeat the part of...
We'll deal with it after you get 4 field goals.
Can you repeat the part of the stuff where you said all about the things?
I'm simply saying they were loud-ish about how good Isaiah Rodgers returns kicks. And then all of a sudden we broke for 6 weeks, and now we come back and he's not in the chat.
Oof.
So there's something there that made it so he's not even KR3. And Ty Felton's KR1. Okay, cool. I mean, forget the drop against the Pats. I mean, he can fix that. My man hasn't returned kicks consistently since 2022 with the Terps, and it was only 6 of them.
Yeah. And he dropped one on Saturday. Kevin O'Connell, Vikes Bites style on the quarterback competition as it stands through 2 games.
Sam had a really good week of practice. And, I think Brett Rippon had a good week stepping in there, and Max made some throws that were really impressive as well. So there's a reason why we're playing all 3 of them. As far as like what that means and, the overall competition, I think I would just say it's still open, and we're trying to figure out what that room is going to look like for the season. But I do like all the players a lot.
So I'm in it now, and I can't help it. The rubidity in me is too much, PA.
What do you mean?
Well, it's what will happen versus what I want to happen. And sometimes those things bleed together. Sometimes they're on the right path. Right now, it feels like I'm a little off. I think Sam Howell is the backup quarterback. I think he's QB2, PA. And it was an inexcusable moment there, and maybe he was trying to throw it out of bounds. I didn't see how much exact contact he made as one of our O-line was being pushed back into him. He threw a pick. I'm talking about Howell, of course.
Yep.
Not a great building off of his great game against the Texans and a good week of practice. But he's going to be the QB2. I want Brosmer to be QB2. I really do. And, when you had KO on, I'm excited for the kid. I think he's had the most consistent camp of those guys. He runs the offense as smoothly as any of those backup QBs does.
But think about it. And we're going to get into this when we push talkbacks in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Just think about this, okay? And Brosmer has outshined Howell and Rippon either in practice and or mostly in the game. So that's correct.
Yeah.
Well, then you get into the regular season situation, and somebody who started, more than a handful of games, like 17 to 20 or whatever, compared to somebody who never has jumped into a situation like that.
Right.
That right there, I think, is a cavernous separator between Brosmer and anybody else. And on the simulcast, when he missed Ja'Shawn Jones, and O'Connell was right in front of it. I don't know if you saw that part or not, but O'Connell told us this play's coming. Jones is going to get single coverage, and Brosmer's going to find him, and it's going to be a long touchdown. Well, Ja'Shawn jumped loose from the guy covering him.
Yeah, and he overthrew him by a couple yards, I think.
Brosmer overthrew it, but great. He's not the first quarterback ever to overthrow people, but it's what O'Connell said after that before he got with Ja'Shawn, saying, your eyes, man, keep your eyes on the ball. Something about a hitch or something about he didn't complete something with a step or a motion. So there are still myriad details with playing the position that clearly he needs to accomplish. Now, you would take the assumption that Howell has all of that figured out. It may not always come to fruition, but I don't think they trade anything for him if they're worried about having to tear down the technique and tear everything down to the bottom to build it up again. So I think stuff like that, the level of trust in, it hasn't been great and the other guy's been better, but this guy's seen it and he's heard it and he knows how to get ready in quick fashion and stuff like that.
And that's the mountain that he's going to have to climb. Is purely, even if it hasn't been great, the experience matters. I look, he has truly outshined the other quarterbacks. I also think about the fact that, down the road, if you end up losing him because he has these traits and he has these abilities, goes off and does his thing, that'll be disappointing in some respects. But we got JJ. This is also under the pretense, by the way, the starter, QB1. I'm excited for him to be good. I have belief in McCarthy. But what about, similar, Belichick was able a long time ago to flip a Jimmy Garoppolo for a second-round pick, I believe, after he got the opportunity to start a few games. I think about the potential for value if he sticks around and continues to grow.
Yep.
And at least through camp, in a vacuum, I have no more trust in Howell having to win us 2-3 games down the road because of injury than I do Brosmer. So that's where I'm at. I think it's going to be Howell. That's probably the right answer. But man, I want to see Brosmer continue to outshine everybody and shock the world.
Right. Well,
and it would be shocking if he got the QB2 spot.
I made the proclamation in the weekend wrap opening segment that I think Max Brosmer should and will play this entire game Friday.
Yeah.
Now, where I would disagree with what you're saying is we're taking what we're seeing right in front of us and making it enveloping it as the blanket over everything that is here.
It's true, yeah.
Now, Howell went for Sam Howell at one point of his career went for like 497 or 447 or something against the Eagles. So I mean,
he had to air it out a bunch when he was with the Commanders.
But there it is right there. He knew it was coming. He had to do it, and he did it.
Yeah,
and I'm just telling you how they think. Is at this level, somebody who has done it is 9.3 out of 10 times going to trump
way ahead
somebody who's got that nice fastball right now, and they're having trouble catching up to that changeup too. And then all of a sudden you throw the slurve, and you got Keyshawn Boutte striking out. Well, so that's down Fort Myers way. It's different, you know what I'm saying, when you got like Aaron Judge these 3 days, and then after that, you got so-and-so du jour, Corey Seager the next 3 days. It's just different.
And even, I mean, you had Milton Williams trying to breathe down the neck of Sam Howell versus what Brosmer was dealing with in the second half, too. So you can kind of parse away just kind of the experience combined with the level of competition.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Howell's playing the starters. He's playing the ones early on versus what you're getting in the second half of a preseason game.
How about that? Vrabel, Friday night, made the decision.
Yeah.
And
he must have been disgusted with Thursday.
It was beyond that from what I was told earlier in the day when we went on with Muss at 10 a.m. and shared this news. He was so disappointed in his defense and a fair amount of his offense Thursday. It all comes back to this Thursday where McCarthy hit like 13 in a row. I mean, when I say McCarthy shredded them Thursday, that's not homerific talk. Vrabel saw it too. So much so, Milton, Robert Spillane, Carlton Davis, you're all playing.
Yeah.
And you're playing 2 series.
Well, that's right. I was kind of shocked by that. That's how I figured it out. Well, I saw Milton in, but Carlton Davis broke up a third down Howell pass to Lucky Jackson, I think. Tough day for Lucky, by the way. I was kind of hoping for more out of him.
Yeah.
We're kind of behind it. I'll give you one quick little Vikings nibble. Xavier Scott on the screen game.
When it comes to the screen game, what is it about your skill set that seems to fit really well with that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say just the versatility that I could bring to a team, just being able to receive the ball well, being able to maneuver well in space, and also just, have a decent understanding, a good understanding of blitzers and just playing ball, really. Yeah.
Didn't feel like either he or Ty Chandler really separated themselves in any respect on Saturday. Or I was looking forward, again, talking about building off of games, right? Howell off the Texans game, but in particular, moving man at the way that Xavier was against the Texans to run in for sub-3 a clip. I think just 3 carries for Ty Chandler. Very much it had the feel of, we're just going to get out of this thing alive and try to watch the clock tick down. I didn't see either person really jump to me at all. A couple of nice catches for Xavier. The screen game could play a bigger part in this offense this year, so I actually did like Xavier in the screens, but running the ball was tough, man, on Saturday.
It was abundantly clear to me because the Vikings were down so many players, and there were 2s and 3s who were nicked up, like Jalen Redmond. All right, Jalen Redmond is going to be a key backup for Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen. Now, those 2 aren't playing in that game. Redmond, I believe, could have played, but didn't. So let's say there were a handful or a little more of those. Well, now your roster's short.
Yeah.
And and your guy comes out with his 1s. So he's going to get 2 series with offense and defense with his 2s, deep 2s, 3s, and deep 3s resting. While your Timoneys, along with Elijah Williams, Jonathan Harris, Bo Richter, Gabriel Murphy, they're all playing now, 15 to 18 plays more than the other guys.
Yeah.
And they all just practiced in very physical fashion 48 hours previously. It was clear to me that some Vikings got really tired in the second half of the game. And when that happens, man, mistakes are going to be made, and you're going to try too hard in certain spots, and that's when you drop things and stuff like that.
Man,
so
it was a sloppy game.
The fatigue factor, I think, set in for both teams, but specifically the Vikings, and it just made sloppy look sloppier.
Indeed. That's Vikes Bites. More Vikings talkers, and of course, moving forward. But Vikes Bites brought to you by Thousand Hills, lifetime grazed, grass-fed beef.
Well, beefy. And speaking of the word beef, the Minnesota Vikings employ a beef eater where I think if they put him on the practice squad, he'll be eating beef for another team. We'll share who that is and also set up some talkbacks if you are so inclined via the free iHeartRadio app. That's around the corner at FM 100.3 KFAN.
A treasure trove of bananas has been stolen, and it's up to Donkey Kong and his buddy Pauline to get them back. This unlikely duo is going on a world-smashing adventure, using DK's destructive abilities to explore an underground world, and the power of Pauline singing to activate wild transformations. Donkey Kong Bonanza, available now. Rated everyone 10 and up, only on Nintendo Switch 2. Game and system sold separately.